welcome back to my channel, and today I'm trying something new, and something I want to continue is a recipe cook type thing series. And today for this first episode we're making some caramel rolls. And these aren't just any caramel rolls, these are cheater caramel rolls. And why are these cheater? Because we're not even making our own dough. That's right, we're using canned crescent dough. And these still taste amazing. Now I love my yeasted rolls just as much as the next person. But when you wake up late in the morning, like I do, sometimes you just don't have time to let your dough rise. And this is the perfect and delicious solution. So let's get into it. Now the first step is to put a saucepan over medium heat and then throw in a pat of butter. And yes, throw it in. I'll have all the measurements on my website. And so next I added some brown sugar. And then after that, I'm going to add some corn syrup. I use light corn syrup, and it calls for 1.5 teaspoons. But as you can see, I used my tablespoon. I just eyeballed it and used about half. Now a trick is to spray the inside of your measuring spoon with some nonstick spray first, and it'll make everything come out a lot easier. So after my light corn syrup was added, it was time to add the heavy whipping cream. And this is to keep the caramel like soft and not too crystally. So that was added, and I'm just gonna cook everything over again, medium heat, until bubbles form. And I also decided to add a pinch of salt to bring out all those flavors. And you see, I just kept stirring it every so often. And then you see these bubbles here. You're gonna cook until you see those bubbles, and that's exactly what we're looking for. After you see those bubbles, you're gonna pour it into a glass casserole dish. Mine was like 8 by 8, and this is well greased. I just used again cooking spray. So I poured my caramel in there, and then I sprinkled over some walnuts. And I know most people usually use pecans, but I didn't have any pecans, so walnuts was the way to go. And it still tasted delicious in the end, and that's all that matters. And I'm glad to say that the hardest part of this recipe is over. That's right, that was the hardest part, and it wasn't even hard. So on to the next step. So in a small bowl, I added some white granulated sugar, some brown sugar, and then I also added, well, I actually forgot to add this, but you should also add a tiny pinch of salt. And then I added some cinnamon, because, I mean, what are caramel rolls or cinnamon rolls without cinnamon? Oh yeah, that's the thing. You can also make these into cinnamon rolls, if I didn't mention that earlier. I forgot. But yeah, you can just make a glaze instead of caramel. So after I gave that a good mixing with my fork, because I didn't want to wash my whisk. A whisk really isn't necessary. It's just a pain to wash. So I mix that up thoroughly, and then I floured my work surface, because now it's time to roll out the crescent dough. Now I kind of had a catastrophe with my crescent dough. I left it in the freezer, and I took it out the morning of, and I didn't let it defrost enough. And see there, it ripped, because it was all stuck together, and I tried to warm it up with my hands, but it just didn't work. It just kept ripping and tearing, and I need to get some warmer hands or something. So yeah, I just kept trying to warm it up. I was getting so frustrated. It just kept sticking and tearing, and I didn't know what to do. So I went to plan B. And plan B was to grab the knife and chop it off. That's right, when in doubt, cut it out, I guess. So yeah, I decided to warm that dough up in my hands by just like rolling it back and forth. And after the dough was a little bit warmer, I just patched up all my little holes. And here's also the part where you like push together all the seams so they don't fall apart while you're rolling it up. Yeah, you can see me doing that there. And you want to make sure like nothing sticks, so I added a tiny bit more flour. So yeah, and now we're finally on to the next step, and that is to spread on our butter. Now you could use softened butter and just like spread it on, but I was feeling fancy and I wanted to use my pastry brush, so I painted that all over the surface. And then it was time to sprinkle over the sugar and be very generous. If someone's watching, you can use a spoon, but no one was in my kitchen, so I just used my hands. There's no shame in that. So I just kept putting a good amount of our cinnamon sugar filling on there, and we are almost done. Finally. And this hasn't even been that hard. This has just been a fun, relaxing morning. Or afternoon, depending on what time you made these. So my cinnamon sugar was all spread on there, and I had some extra walnuts, so I just sprinkled those on in the middle. I didn't want those to go to waste. Just add some extra crunch. And then I decided to pull out my bench scraper because it was getting dusty, and then just folded that over. You want to make a pretty tight log here. I just pick up the dough and then squash it over. Everyone knows how to roll a log. At least I'd hope so. So yeah, I just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. Just pinched it together with my hands a little. And yeah. So once you get to the end, you're just gonna kind of squeeze it together to seal that seam. And then, I know it looks kind of small. It looks like a small log, but it's gonna be okay. So the trick is, we're gonna get 8 rolls. So you cut it in half, cut each half in half, and then cut each quarter in half again, so you get 8 perfect size rolls. Now you could roll this the opposite direction if you wanted to get 4 larger rolls, but I wasn't feeling that. So yeah, these look kind of flimsy, because I mean, it's thin crescent dough, but it'll all work out in the end. So you're gonna take that off your counter, put it cut side down into the caramel, and then push it down a little. As you see, I squashed it. And that's just to get like a more cinnamon roll look. I don't know. I've just always done it that way. So you're just gonna place all of them into your casserole dish, or whatever dish you're using, and then cut it down. Just make sure that whatever dish you're using, you have enough caramel to cover the bottom of it. After all my rolls were transferred, it's time to put these in our preheated oven. And again, all my details will be on my website, and I'll link that in the description. And I let those bake for about 16 minutes or until they're golden on top like this. And do not touch the sugar. This is very hot. Even though it looks bubbly and delicious, don't touch it. Now we're going to let these cool in the pan for 5 minutes before we take them out. And once we do, we're going to invert these onto a plate, and you will see the most beautiful and delicious caramel rolls that you have ever seen before. And we didn't even make the dough, but yet they still taste delicious. So here, I gave it a little taste test as I struggled to cut it because I was looking through the camera. But nonetheless, it tasted delicious. Hope you make these, and please enjoy. Thank you.